and we rolling. Ever wonder why black people don't support each other? Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wizzo Talk. Glad you all going to take away from the football game to go and join us on this conversation. Ever wonder why black people don't support each other? So, guys, I'd like to remind everyone that it's also free to like, share, and subscribe. If you subscribe to the channel, please hit the notification bell so whenever we upload something, you guys can get right on off into it. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, hit me up in the comments. If you have a hot topic you'd like to also hear discussed, also hit me up in the comments. We're going to get it going. And let's get our first guy to go and introduce himself, and so we can get this thing going.
Yo, more bliss, more life. It's your boy 7 Points of Bliss, aka Pomegranate Samurai. It's an honor to be on here yet again. If you guys want to see any of my content, you can just Google After Real Truth, all one word. And I'm on Spotify under Cosmic Currency 777. And thanks for letting me be here, man.
Already. Big Jack.
All right. How y'all doing? It's Big Jack. I run company Big Jack Hot Shot Service. Don't have the social media, Instagram and all that, but I just do what I do. I move freight. 18-wheeler truck parts, that's my thing. That's 12 years. If you see a big rig, I probably got something to do with them on the way.
Already. All right. That's what's up. Budget, what we got, sir?
Good afternoon, brothers. I'm Dr. Terry Budget. I'm the founder and CEO of Alpha Leadership Consulting. I'm also a professional speaker, leadership development trainer, and published author. I'm glad to be here to contribute to this session and hope I can deliver some good content and information to you.
All right, that's what's up. Glad you all guys can all make it here. I also forgot to also add that I upload this on Spotify also. So if anyone just don't want to click on YouTube and watch that, you can also find me on Spotify, and I also upload some shorts and everything on TikTok. So today's topic, guys, we're talking about ever wonder why black people don't support each other. Big Jack, I'm gonna come at you right quick because I know you got your own business and everything. So what type of support do you get from our own blacks?
It's always I really don't get much. I get a lot of people that's needing something, but the blacks that's in the same business that I'm in, I find it a little difficult. They're on a different level. And, like I say, I didn't choose 18-wheelers to drive them. I've done this business for years, and I've never owned an 18-wheeler, never owned a box truck. I just did it and had 3/4 tons with me. So everything I found here lately, people I reached out to, starting this out, I get more people reaching out to me, and I'm just giving them the game that I know, what I know. And I'm trying to go to the next level so I could kind of help, the next man or the people that had already came in front of me, and doing their thing. But as far as us helping each other, we just got to get out our own way. We got to, let the bygones be bygones. We find all kind of reasons not to help each other.
Right.
You receive the help. People that's receiving the help, you got to implement the plan. So if any one of you guys give me a plan, say, hey, try this, promote your business. I can't take your plan and not implement your plan the way you told it, and then turn around and expect you to say, oh man, you got it. And that's a lot we do. We give people stuff, tell them to use these steps, and they skip a step or they leave a step out. So when you get it, you got to be able to take it, in order to give it. So, I put people on all the time, man, so, but I dig what you're saying. We just don't stick together. We don't,
Right.
I think a lot of it got to do with this history. A lot of people don't know who they are. They don't know where they come from. They don't think about how they grew up. Well, you know how we grew up. What we had standing over us. So it's nothing for me to give you. Any one of y'all call me, stranger call me to know something about this business that I know. It ain't costing you nothing because it didn't cost me to go through it.
Right.
That's not my is to do it like this. So At the end of the day, I just feel we just gotta, trust in each other. We gotta find a way to trust each other. But society plays a part in that as well. So I'm gonna end it with that.
Okay, okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. Anybody got something? Jump on, start with something. Or I don't know if you guys can see the comment that I just posted also, but if you can't, let me know.
I believe there's a number of issues that we have to contend with, especially within the African American community. One, and there's a number of them. Let's try. There's internalized oppression, social economic disparities, diverse perspectives, historical traumas, also media influence. And we have to consider all these factors because much of it, of what we know, is what we've been taught. And that much, and most of that is generational. If we don't take the time to educate ourselves and educate each other about who we really are, then we'll go back into the dogma of who we're stereotypically believed to be. And much of the times, because we believe it, we actually take the actions to prove that what other people believe is factual, and it's not. And that leads to self-doubt and mistrust within our own community. So we don't take the time to pull each other up because systemically, we believe that if you have more than me, you are uppity, a sellout, or you don't want to support me because you think you're better than me. And this is not the case. There's enough for everybody to eat, but it's internalized. And because it's been groomed from great-grandparent, grandparent, and parent of a time that they had to actually deal with it, as opposed to now, not saying that systemic racism does still exist, but not to the significant extent that it did then. We have to be able to grow and educate ourselves and each other about who we are, who we can be, and what our potential is to become better.
Okay, okay. All right. What you got, Seth? I know you got me, Seth. What's up?
Like the doctor was saying, man, I really feel like our people, we deal with a very, we in a very difficult place, but we deal with a very strong level of Stockholm syndrome. You know what I'm saying? We identify and we really reflect upon what the pale skinned people do. And this is what we've always been given these imageries, because now we think of pale skin as power. So we just reflect and we just keep trying to do what they're doing instead of trying to find out who we are. And a lot of our identity was taken from us, but a lot of our history is being given back to us right now. But you have to be open enough to receive the information. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not going to look for it, you're not going to find it, even though it's out here. But we're still dealing with certain things like algorithms and stuff like that on the internet. So if it's something that you're not openly looking for, it's not going to keep coming to you. You know what I'm saying? And with us loving our oppressors so much, right, we give them so much power within our communities because we really have so much going on for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, due to times of segregation, we actually were greater people. And I know it's hard for a lot of people to really stand on and grasp that. But during segregation, you know what I'm saying, we had our own everything. You know what I mean? Black Wall Street was banging. We had our own bus companies. We had our own laundromats. We had our own everything. And it wasn't until the time as to where we feel like we needed to be equal to anyone, right, is when we started to really go through these problems, because back in those days, our people worked together. You know what I mean? Families were working together. There was no separation. There was no father out of the home. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knew that they had a place and a role to play. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because there are power in those gender roles that now we've been brainwashed to step away from, because we're still trying to be like the pale skinned people, and we're adopting their problems. The problems that they had, we didn't have. You know what I'm saying? So it's deep like that.
Right. You got something there, doctor?
I like the comment that you mentioned about the Stockholm syndrome. I think much of what we deal with has to deal with past predication in the context of we've adopted a mindset of inferiority. And that, as I said before, much of that stems from where we were to where we are. It's easier to blame another culture than it is to self-correct. But you can't do that if you don't have the knowledge. It's not so much that we don't want to know. It's easy to blame someone else so that we don't have to know. Right. And that's where the struggle comes into play. We are a culture of kings. The problem is we're taught to bleed as slaves. Until you get a new information that changes that dynamic of thinking, you'll always get what you always got because you stay where you always were. Until you get around new information and a higher level of consciousness of people who think at a higher level, you'll always stay at the level that you're at. And you're going to complain because you don't go any higher. You don't go any higher because you don't want to. It's easier to stay in an impoverished mindset than it is to extend your consciousness into a level of being meteoric instead of being just mediocre.
Right. Okay. Can you guys see that comment that one of my viewers posted? No.
I can see that that super chat.
It says, we've been trained that black is bad. There's a reason devil cake is chocolate and angel food is white, according to what one of my guys posted.
It's systemic integration. That's not new. Ask an African American child that you have a black doll and a white doll, which one is bad? They choose the black doll because you're culturally taught this. As I said before, until we gain new information about who we truly are and spread it amongst ourselves, we consistently rely on other people to do for us, or we have the power to do for ourselves.
Yeah, that goes right into what I was telling you before too, though, when it comes to not just brainwashing, but any type of information. It only takes 2 generations. Once you talk 2 generations, it's set because people are going to enforce it themselves. You no longer have to teach it. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I think some of the challenge that we face, for example, because I had to deal with it when I go home amongst my old peers, because I spent 21 years in the military and I've been around the world and seen many things and experienced many cultures. But when I go home and deal with the people that I grew up with, only thing we have to talk about is what we did back in the day. You never been anywhere. You never tried to do anything more than what you've already done, because as far as they're concerned, this is all there is. So, but if you never went past being across the street to the store, then how can you make the statement? Right. We don't have this. We don't have the same conversations because I'm not any better than anybody else that I grew up with. I just made different decisions, and because I wanted more, I went after more and achieved more. And trying to convince us to go after it means, well, wait a minute. You mean I have to think? You mean I have to work? Well, yeah. How do you think they got it? Well, the cliche can be, well, they're privileged. They still had to get up out the bed.
Right.
I mean, they don't have a title behind them and didn't get in the classroom to learn, but you have the same opportunities to do the same thing. We struggle with self-identity, and it's negative portrayals in media that reinforces how we already think. And because it affects our perception and our support for each other within the community, we stay in the same mindset. And it's a struggle to get us out of that cultural negativity to get to a level of elevation that we can be better. The problem is most of us culturally don't want to do better because it requires effort.
Okay. So we're talking about ever wonder why black people don't support each other or stick together. But here's my thing, if there's some young black kid that's just got shot or beat by the cops, shit, there's a fucking ton of black people out there protesting, marching, and going on. You know, but if I need one of those guys or someone to support me they want to come into I own a restaurant, for example. I come in there, first thing they fucking want something free. We want a discount. You're not asking for the fucking discount from Walmart when you go off in there. You're not asking for the discount from so forth and so on. So why do you have to come to me? Even as my cousin, my son own a business and he sells t-shirts and all kind of shit. I don't ask him for no fucking discount. And I've done a lot for him. I pay full price for it because business is business. And I support him. My son had some other type of business. I forgot what the freak it was. And some of the family on his mom's side didn't support him. They went over there to the white man. And he has the same freaking business. So that's what I'm trying to get. And I've been listening to you guys and I've been listening to everything like that and stuff like that. But I'm just like, why and I hear about the slavery and the ancestors and so forth and so on. And I also have some I'm gonna read a little bit later on, a little quote. But why, doctor, why do I gotta come to you and ask you for a discount? You know, because I'm black. Why?
I'll tell you, you just answered the question. Because you look like me.
Yeah.
We want something for always sort of for free. We don't value the other black as being an asset. Notice that when something like you mentioned before, another brother gets shot by the cops, and we'll go out there and we'll protest and we'll riot. You'll notice we tear up our own hood. We don't go in theirs because they're not having it. If you want to become a change within the community, you have to get involved within the political system of the community. Become an advocate for what's actually happening. It's easy to many people talk and complain. Seldom do we do.
Right.
It's always pick up a sign. It's always pick up a sign and look. What are you doing by tearing up your own community? You're only adding to the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right. This was on the Black Heritage Community. I just got a guy that was making some comments. I don't know if you can see it. I posted a couple of them on there that he's reaching out to me. This is me, Mr. Wizzo, the Black Heritage Committee Chairman in Temple, Texas. Okay. Well, he made a couple other comments. I have to back up to go and see him, but so you guys can wind up seeing them or whatever. Big Jack, I saw you pointing the finger. What's on your mind there?
I was just wanting to piggyback off what both the gentlemen said, and as well as yourself. When they want the hookup, because like he said, we look like each other. But if the doctor got a business, Seven got a business, you got a business, when I walk in, Will right around the corner from me, Crab King's right here in DeSoto. He from my home. I don't want no discount. I'm every event, birthday parties, I'm having all that there. You know, I'm putting that money right there because I know, for one, it's in my neighborhood and it's going to somebody that look like me and somebody from where I'm from. So I tell people it's more ways to support people than just giving them money. If you ain't even got the money, you can go over there and help clean up or help straighten up. As kids, that's what I got more stuff from Home's grocery store by sweeping up. Yeah. If I want candy or Mr. Marshall or somebody like that, you know, in our hometown, I got more stuff as a kid by helping out. You know, stuff. I was mowing yards, so you know, it is a mental thing. It's very mental when it comes to us. When we look at each other, we don't look at each other like everybody else look. You know, look at each other.
Right.
Can I add something to that? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I drive down one of the roads. I see two men, one black, one white. And I see this time and time and time again. The brother comes with his hand out. Brother, can you help me out? But you want something for free. I understand your situation. Got it. You see, the white man, he has a bucket and a brush. He's willing to do something for that money. So who do you give it to? The man who asked for the handout or the one who asked for the hand up? Mm-hmm. And I see this time and time again. It's like, you want me to help you, but you're not even willing to help yourself. You aren't even offered a barter to trade something in return for the funds, because you're going to have to work at some point to exchange your time and energy for money. Mm-hmm. This other man is doing something. You just want it because I look like you. Right.
That's the expectation.
So, yeah. And it comes to a guilt complex to the point where, you can't help out your brother. Your brother, you're not even helping out yourself. Mm. If you can come to me to ask me for money, you can go to a restaurant and ask for an application.
Mm. I'm gonna say this something. You know how hard it is for me as a young man or even a 55-year-old man to ask somebody for some money. Even when I was a person, you know how hard it was for me to ask my grandparents and my mother. I watched them work hard for it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's what made me think, that's what I gotta go do. That's the first thing I gotta do is go get me a job. And a lot of these kids just don't think like that. They think, well, because we're not living where they hear the stories of grandma and granddaddy and great auntie and uncle, where they used to live in the shotgun houses with no electricity and, no toilet, all that, using the outhouse. And they feel, well, we in a brick house, we ain't got that, you can afford it. But like I tell people, I don't know what you went through in life to afford the living you have. Wherever you live, whatever you drive, whatever you wear, I don't know what you went through. I don't know what how you transcend to get there, but I know you put the work in.
Right.
So I can't say, hey man, give me this. Hey man, let me hold it. Hey, my brother, you got a dime, I mean, it's crazy, man, but it's where we at. And we just got to keep fighting to try to, be a part of the correction, instead of the problem,
Right.
Like you said, it's not a lot of action. We go on, like you said, we go to these, I don't march. I don't go on no marches because what they do is they take our picture at the march, at the rally. My business, how I got to Texas, my business burnt up in the LA ride with Rodney King. That's how I got back to Texas in '92 because I couldn't do it again. I couldn't stay in my business no longer because I had to stay in the back of my own business, my own detail shop, because I couldn't afford the business rent and the rent at the apartment. So I had to move to my shop to be able to make it. But when it burnt down, the insurance, luckily I had the insurance. But when later on, when I got back to Texas, the insurance come to call me and say, hey, look, the looters didn't burn it down. The owner that owned the building, the Korean dude, he burnt it down. They got a picture of him. Just like they got a videotape of Rodney King getting beat, they got a videotape of the Korean dude burning it down. So all those pictures that they show y'all in the riots that was got done, I was in a riot in California.
Right.
So building, black folks, they just looted them. They didn't burn them down because if they burn them down, they're not putting them back. Because I didn't put my shop back.
Gotcha.
I packed up and got up out of there because I wasn't going through that again. I had the house, sleep in my storeroom in the back. So I can. But what people don't understand is they're gonna loot it. They're not burning it down. They're gonna loot it because when you loot some, the insurance gonna pay for the merchandise to get back in there. But when you turn around and you burn it down, you getting a bigger insurance policy, and the only people get that insurance policy is the people that own it. And the rent dude that owned my business, I was renting, he'll get more money if he burn it down. So man, it's so much we gotta fight with, man. Till I tell people, man, it ain't a poor boy that want to be a rich black boy or black man. It's not a poor boy. That show you how bad black people got it. Find the poorest white man and say, if I take you in here and you want to be black and I can turn you black, would you want to be black and be wealthy? Nah, he gonna stay where he at because he know how bad we got it. But just because we got it bad, we ain't got to. It don't give us no excuse. I'm not giving it an excuse, but you got to understand how people look at it. People look at it and they, like you said, they don't want to make changes. They don't want to own their part. You got to own your part of everything. You got to own your.
Man, so I got a guest, and we've already kind of went past, I believe, but he says that's a great point, Doc. And I don't know where we were when it, because we kept going. I think we are told to behave in survival mode like our elders when we should be in thriving mode.
And that's factual. One of the cliches I used to use when I was trying to teach the young men, like ages 12 and under, and you've heard it before, how to keep a secret from a black man. You put it in a book. Mm-hmm. Knowledge is in front of you. The problem is we don't open up to find it. It's easier to be told what is than to find what is, because you don't own something until you discover it for yourself. It doesn't matter how many things that you're told, and you can be told this is how it is. No, that's how it is for you. Right. Your truth doesn't necessarily mean my truth.
Right. Yeah, and Josh, I believe I see you rocking over there to that because I'm telling y'all, Josh be on some knowledge. He studies stuff. He reads a lot, and he's been on my podcast a lot. And he always talk about knowledge, and the internet has all of it out there for us. It's kind of like I've said before too. if you know better, why don't you do better? But now that we know better, it seems like we don't want to do better. And it's out there, and we still not supporting one another. Josh, I think you had something to say there.
I feel like, man, people don't want to do better because they just think that it's a lot more work, and it's really not that much more work, man. It's really easier to do a good deed than it is to do negative. But to go back to that comment when he was talking about the black Dow and the white Dow and people's connotations when it comes to skin tones like that, the reason why I feel like our people want to shortchange each other when it comes to our businesses is because when we look at each other's skin, we already have an idea that black people are gonna offer you something of a lower quality. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how people brainwashed are. But that's how our people do it, because like you look at our people, they go by Louis Vuitton belts and all these white names, and they associate good value and good quality with those things. So when they come back to us, they're already thinking, because they're in a mindset of thinking cheaper, right? They think that we're going to offer them something cheaper. And it's often the same thing when it comes to our people working with each other. For some odd reason, when we go into working with each other, right, we automatically think that the other person is looking to get over.
Yes.
And when people go into something with that kind of mindset already, you're looking to be the first person to get over on that other person. And that other person may not be looking to get over at all. The other person may be looking at you like, bro, I'm about to help this person out to the best of my abilities, because if they win, I win. You know what I'm saying? But the other person is like, well, this person's going to try to do me in, so man, I got to try to get as much as I can out of them. And it's like, it's just a whole mindset of that we're dishonest people. And these things are just programmed into us at this point, from like the news and this social media in general. We just think that we're just dishonest people. And that mindset really has to change, because we're very honorable people. Like even the things that our ancestors have done, these things are within us, and we still hold these things true to high value, you know?
Right. I feel you on that. Doc, you got something before I read this comment one of my viewers just posted?
Go ahead, read.
It says the blacks didn't, and this was talking about I'm gonna have to add Big Jack. I think we lost him for a second. Let me add him back. Okay, there we go. It says the blacks did not burn down their own places. Folks were told to come from near and far to loot and burn, which is what you was just talking about a while ago, Big Jack. And I'm telling you, I didn't know that about that. You know, the burning it down and all that stuff, because you know the TV show us what they want to show us. You know.
Yeah, and media. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother. Media has its place in this whole spectrum, because, as I said before, we believe what we see, not what we learn. And until we gain more knowledge and empower each other to become better, we're always going to believe whatever someone else tells us. And part of that is a shame, because it advocates for negativity within our own community. We have to take the time to learn about ourselves, about our community, and become involved within the community. Not just going through the food bank and try to get something free, but actually make positive change. And as much as that deals with advocating for economic initiatives, addressing systemic inequalities, creating opportunities for economic advancement within our own community, educational programs that address historical traumas. All these things are within our grasp. The problem is, even though they may be presented with even foundations to produce them, requires you to get out of your house and go to receive them. And if we don't do that, or a person doesn't go and take advantage of the resources that are made available, why are you complaining?
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Reading the comment right here from one of my viewers. My viewers that's out there, I thank you guys and ladies also for your comments. And the media feeds us all this. Let me correct myself here again. I'm using my bifocal when I should be using my distance, I guess. I don't know. And the media feeds us this all the time. This is the reason Cat Williams is getting all the attention he's getting, and it's sad and it hurts. So, and I believe we were talking about how the media, I had a point with that and I just fucking forgot it. But that's what my view is. So anyway, thank you. Guys, I'm going to read something right quick. and get you guys input on it right quick. And let me slide a little closer to me. This is like a quote from the Willie Lynch letter, and get you guys to see what you think about it. And because Doctor, you said something about slavery and something about generation, I believe, a little bit ago. So I'm gonna read this and then I'm gonna make a little point on it. It says, this is, like I said, a quote from the Willie Lynch letter. It says, use fear, distrust, and envy for control. The old black against the young black male. The young against the old black male. Use the female against the male, and the male against the female. Use the dark skin against the light skin against the dark skin. It is necessary that your slaves love and trust only us, meaning the whites.
Mhm.
The black slave, after receiving this indoctrination, will carry on for hundreds or maybe even thousands of years. And that's where we are. This is still going on, in my opinion, hundreds and thousands of years. Look at just a couple little examples. Well, maybe not, but now we don't have to sit at the back of the bus. As soon as we get to the fucking bus, even at school, at high school, when we was in there, where we go? Straight to the damn
Straight to the
back.
back.
You go to one of your kids' programs or whatever, where you go? Straight to the fucking back. You don't have to do that no more. You go to a restaurant, which I refuse to let them sit me in the back or by the restroom some damn where. It's not gonna happen. So I'm just asking you guys, what are y'all thoughts on that? Is it in our DNA to why we don't support each other because we hate on one another, still using, from this indoctrination that's been going on back from slavery to now?
Yeah, it's definitely been instilled in us hardcore, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just these whole ideologies of sitting in the back of the classrooms where all the cool kids are at, and you know what I'm saying, being a nerd isn't cool and that type of stuff. When people don't realize, like, man, the nerds did all the great things here on the planet that you take for granted. You know what I'm saying? Nerds made chairs, nerds made mailboxes and video games and water guns, and we really just get into this mode where our people really start to see high fashion and stuff like that more so as being cool, and we really take for granted knowledge. Like the doctor was saying, like, people don't want to pick up these books because I really feel like it intimidates them. You know what I'm saying? And then once you do start to learn things, you have no choice but to take accountability, and people don't want to do that.
Okay.
One of the challenges is that, and go back to sitting in the back of the bus, because I grew up in that situation, because much of it deals with, if you're not sitting in the back of the bus, like you said, with the cool kids, then you're an outcast.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of us want to be accepted by our own group, and if you're not doing what they do, then you're doing what someone else does, and that's within a group is not acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
And I shared this years ago with Paul. That growing up, I was bullied from kindergarten through high school. C's, D's, and F's in school, but then I went to the military. I was gone for 5 months. 5 months before anybody realized I had even left.
Mm.
And the thing about it is, now, the same guys that bullied me are the same guys who read my books.
All right. Well, congrats on the books. Also, congrats on that, man. And the bullying part, man, I tell you, that's still bad right in this day and time. So,
I don't really think necessarily bullying is bad when you got to deal with it. It really builds character, bro. It shows you how to face adversity, because when you get out into the real world, it will tear you down. And if you're not able to, if you can't handle that, you know what I'm saying? Everything has a place and a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, children are just like smaller versions of the larger construct. So when you're dealing with that type of stuff, and then you have to face that adversity out in the world, it teaches you how to handle it ahead of time.
right.
You know what
I don't disagree.
I'll agree to a certain extent, but Josh, do you have a light? Because you kind of dark over there. I don't know if you got a light. Maybe you can cut on, but I can see you a little bit. But I'm just going to put that out there like that to you. Yeah, much better. I mean, bullying but it has to have some type of cutoff point, because if that kid can't handle it, then next thing you know, he's committing suicide. And that parent then lost their kid or whatever because he's been bullied. He can't go and tell nobody. So, I mean, I agree a little bit with the bullying, but
But you have
I can't support it wholeheartedly.
at home though. If you don't
Say
have
again?
if you don't have an open line of communication at home, then you already failed your child. Because it's not the bullies. The bully's it's always gonna be a bully, no matter where you go. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, are you talking to your children? Even if they're not gonna tell you what's happening, you're still supposed to be giving them information. Because we all deal with some level of bullying. You know what I mean? Even if you know what I'm saying, little boys deal with more physical bullying, little girls, I feel like they deal with way worse kind of bullying because it's the mental bullying that really tears you down. So if you're not talking to your kids about it, whether you think they're going through it or not, you already failed them.
I think the challenge comes into play to where when I mentioned me being bullied from kindergarten through high school, after I retired from the military, I reached out to these same guys who bullied me. Now we hadn't seen each other in years, and I let them know this is what you put me through. I said, but I'm not angry with you. In fact, I thank you. And the reason why I thank you is because I went through that so I could teach my sons they don't have to. So I took that for them. And now we're good friends because those things were necessary at that time to prepare me for when I had kids, to teach them this is how you defend yourself. You don't have to take that because I already took it.
Right.
Yeah.
Big Jack, what you got? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I thought Big Jack had some.
Yeah, so I agree with both of you guys, all three of you on the panel on that one. But I'm gonna say this also: bullying does build certain things because like you said, Doc, when you don't when you decide to step out from the what's the norm of those people sitting in the back, as a grown man, when I used to go to meetings when I was a manager at Home Depot and I was out there for 22 years managing for Home Depot, and I would go to these big meetings. And the first thing I do is I go towards the back room. I wouldn't get in the back, but I just want to read the room. I'm a big fan of reading anywhere I go. I don't know, I guess it's military background, working in the prison, being overseas. I don't sit with my back to nobody's door. Just certain things, I don't do none of that. I do none of that stuff. So I guess it's me and my endeavors in life. But back to the bullying, what you were saying is true, is that it builds character, Kevin. It does. It builds character. Because, I got bullied in Germany until, one day mama told me, this dude keep jumping on me. I said, I don't know why. Well, it was because his sister liked me. I didn't know his sister liked me. Well, he kept jumping on me. And I told mama, I know I'm going to get in trouble. She said, well, what you going to do? I said, well, I'm going to get in trouble with you because he got one more time to push me and I'm going to lay him out. And I laid him out. And ever since then, they were like, man, that's crazy, man. I wasn't number that was my freshman year. So it's like in Germany, we had kids from everywhere. But people, you had it good. You was a military brat. Man, I had kids from New York, Chicago, from the hood. You know how many recruiters put in people from the hood? You know, we had to deal with that, man. You got people from everywhere, and everybody had this. In Texas, when I went in the military, they tried to bully you in the military. I went into the Navy, and some of the Marines was on my list say, "What are you, a steer or a queer?" And they messed around and let me know we had a place on the ship called the forecastle where we can go in there and mano on mano, man on man. I said, well, okay. Oh. Next time when he asked me that, I said, meet me in the forecastle. I'll show you. I'm this steer from Texas.
Yeah,
straight
right.
And that's how you get back with it. But, like I say, we're in a society now where social media and the news, they run everything. They put this stuff out there. And like you said, Doc, it's easier to hear it and run with it than to read and know it for yourself.
Right.
Right. It's easier. It's more comfortable. People are more comfortable with it. And then they take and look at us. We can all get dressed up to a T. Don't know whether we worth $1 million or not. But if they think we worth $1 million, they're gonna listen to it. They're gonna listen to me. If they think you worth $100, they're not listening to you.
All right. So we're talking about ever wonder why Black people don't support each other. Just had another one of my guests jump into the room. We're gonna let him do his little intro and see if you want to go and spit something out. Go ahead there, Big Woo.
Well,
Can't,
he ain't say
can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Oh, you gotta click on mute, man. Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, fellas? Happy New Year's, man. Anyway, I'm here, cuz.
All right, well, glad you're here. So, guys, we've been talking about different reasons why and this and that, but most of us, and I don't know how old Josh is, but most of us is in our 50s. So, my question to you is, will we see the change in our lifetime where blacks start supporting each other? Because we don't. We've heard a lot of reasons why and this and that and whatever, but I don't know. Will I see it in my lifetime? Because it's we don't. So,
Man, that's a tough question, man. It's you want to do business with your people, and you try to do business with your people. It just depends on. Most of my experience has been in the food industry, and 9 times out of 10, they don't have everything they're supposed to have, or the place is subpar, not up to, just in the past where the restroom, wasn't up to par, and nobody's going to come in there, especially women, going to come in there and they ain't got a place where they can use the restroom. But man, I'm laughing, have a smile on my face because me and Jack, we had this conversation in Will's place, and but man, I think it stems from our conditioning way back. I go way back to slavery. It's just we're just conditioned to where we're pulling each other down like the crab in the bucket syndrome instead of trying to lift one another up. And I know it's a fine line, like I was just speaking about, when you're trying to support Black people and everything are not up to snuff. But we can say the same thing about the other people do, other folks too that don't look like us. So I try to go back. I give them a couple of chances or 3 chances, but after that, that's why you have so many businesses where you can choose to go elsewhere. And hopefully, you're still choosing a place of business where someone that looks like us is running that business. But I just really think it's just conditioning, man. We're just not conditioned as a people to work like just gonna be point blank. The Spanish, the Orientals, they stick together. You see Spanish people in the store, it's 4 or 5 with 2 baskets all in the same household. We're not gonna do that. We too busy worried about, oh, Wu got this, Paul got this in his basket, instead of saying we all got this in the basket, it's all going to be ours, and we can all use those same resources.
Okay.
I think a good solution to this problem would definitely be to not only support more businesses of our people, but to also have our kids bear witness to this. So when we go into the other stores or businesses, we make sure we tell our children about what's going on. We make sure that we try to get to know some of these owners. Back in the days when my dad used to take me to a lot of the laundromats and a lot of the businesses that we would go to, the cleaners and stuff like that, he knew the owners and we would talk to them. You know what I'm saying? Like they got to know me by name. I got to know them by name. And we really need to start getting back into our communities again and getting to know everyone, because that's one of the reasons why we thrived the most back then, is because everybody took the time to actually get to know each other. And when you do that, you can provide a greater service for your community, because everybody doesn't need the same thing. You know what I mean? Right. Sometimes people don't need to necessarily buy anything. Back in the day, I knew some people who would come into business and they wouldn't buy anything, but they would still like donate or just give some money to the business, man. Because they knew you know what I mean? They knew your family and stuff like that. We're so impersonal now, especially with how social media has everything. It's like we really don't even know each other, and we're not trying to get to know each other anymore.
Right. And Josh, I heard you say, I get right there with you, Doc. Josh, I've heard you say in one of our other podcasts how we should have our own police force. We should have our own this. We should have our own that. And different things like that as blacks that we should have, and not have to go to them, to the other people, so to speak, for anything. But to reach out to a kid that's in his 20s now, how do we reach that kid to go on and get him? Because, we talked about this also, Josh, about how they're coming together. They out there, they lost a little bit, but how do we reach them to get them to follow us out in the community like we used to? We used to know this guy at the laundromat. Now everybody's so stuck on technology to shit, they're not lifting their head up to get to know that neighbor or that over there. Because when I was with Woo them, we talked about the village raising a child. But now, shit, you can't go over there and put your hands on that child like you used to back in the day.
But you gotta give them responsibilities. It's almost like just having like having a child in the household, right? You said little kids, you give them some crayons, they're gonna color all over the wall, and then you're gonna get mad about that. It's the same thing with kids in the community. If you give them a spray can, right, they're gonna do graffiti. But instead of being mad about that, right, why don't we organize them, right? Give a bunch of kids a bunch of spray cans and see what they can do. See what kind of art they create and advertise for business and stuff like that. We don't do that. It's the same thing with a child in the house. We can be mad about them drawing on the walls. Why don't you paint the walls with some chalk paint and then allow them to see what they can do? Harness that energy instead of just pushing them away and telling them what they're doing is wrong. These kids, they want to help. They want to do something. You know what I'm saying? You want these kids to stop tearing up the communities. Allow them to do something in the community that they can be proud of, and then they're going to protect it.
Okay. What you got, Doc?
I got a question for you. Are the brothers that are on the panel, how many of you own your own business?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Okay. Now, let's go back to days in school. Were you taught to own your own business?
No, not at all.
Not at all. So it has to do with the education system and the acquisition of knowledge. Look at other cultures. If you want to find out about how you can progress in your own culture, study other ones. You look at the Arabs, the Jews, Chinese, and so forth. When they come to this country, they don't look for a job. They don't even consider it. Their only goal is to start a business. And if they don't have the money to start a business, they go and get a job, only so they can get enough money to start a business. How do you feel take your lady friends, for example. They will go to a Korean to get hair instead of going to an African American who owns a store to get the same hair. We're not taught to be deployed, we're taught to be employed.
Yeah.
And until we learn how to get out of the mindset of working for someone, instead of being the employee, be the employer. Mm-hmm. Be the one that's handing out the jobs instead of the one that's looking for them. But I didn't understand that until later on in life, because I got my bachelor's, my master's, and my doctorate, and it meant absolutely nothing. Only thing it said was I can be taught to do it your way. I had to surround myself with other cultures who thought at a different level, said, why are you working with someone when you can do the same thing? I said, what do you know? So like you, I started my own business. So now how do I monetize it? I didn't go to my own. And why? Because of how we culturally think. We said it earlier. We always want something for free. I will pay you for your knowledge. I look at you as a value-based asset rather than just a commodity. If you have the knowledge that I need, I'll pay you for the value that you give to me so I can elevate myself. So everybody wins. There's enough food for everybody to eat. The problem is we instead of going for the meal, we settle for the scraps. And we fight to keep the scraps that we got from the other person who's trying to eat. And until we get out of that mindset, we'll always be groveling. You mentioned earlier about the Willie Lynch. Mm-hmm. You know why his philosophy was so powerful? Because it worked. Mm-hmm. And each day we prove it. And until we get better knowledge and better information to change that way of thinking, we'll stay systemically in that impoverished mindset. And we teach that to our children, and they continue on the cycle. Like you said, it can go for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Mm-hmm. What I chose to do was to separate myself from my culture. What can I learn from these other cultures? Now I have the knowledge. I can teach you, but I can't make you learn.
But on that note, teach you, but can't make you learn. And I know you have your doctorate, and so this other person over here, white, I'm going to just say it, have their doctorate. I'm coming up as this black guy. Guess what? I'm not even fixed to come to you. I'm going to go over there and let this guy. I don't understand. I mean, I know we discussed, different ways of why we like that and why we like that, but it just draws me back to that, to why I lost my damn point again. That happened to me a lot. Why we got to go over that? I had so much shit off of that turn into hell. I be forgetting shit. But
I mean,
it just
what's the brother's name? I'm sorry, I'm coming on late and I don't know nobody's name. I'm sorry, but
It's Terry.
the brother on the right, in the orange, he just said something. And excuse me for interrupting, but I had another point that I was going to try to say, but I'm gonna say that point and I'm gonna follow up to his point because
okay.
it's all one and the same. So I was watching Roland Martin the other day, and he was talking about the power of the black people, the power of the black dollar. So I don't know. I'm always listening. I'm always looking at stuff. So I'm a member of the D9. So the D9 people made the color purple make so many amount of millions of dollars the first day, and that was just by word of mouth. So he said, he posed, what if we did that for every black business? I know Jack got a business. I just heard you say you have a business. This other young brother has a business. What if if every D9, Mason, all these organizations band together and used our power collectively to pour it all into one business or to black businesses? Think about the wealth that we could create. But exactly to my brother in the orange point, we're not taught that. Roland Martin told the story of how he had his nephew with him, and he was at a Houston Texans game. And so the owner asked him, said, hey, so you gonna play for the Texans one day? And the little nephew was about to answer. Roland put his hand over his mouth. He said, nah. He said, I'm teaching them how to own the Texans.
There you go.
Right. And that's our difference. And I think about my uncle, Paul's daddy, he owned a business. I went to school for business. And what happened to me was when I left Angelo State, went to my first thing, I'm thinking I'm going to be this big business tycoon. Then I realized my color was a skin that looked like I wasn't a Rockefeller. I wasn't JFK. I wasn't this person where my dad could put me in position, to learn how to run this company and then maybe start my own little company. Again, back to your point, conditioned to own something instead of being employed by a person, to own a business instead of being employed by a business. That's a very, very good point. We gotta keep that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, our school systems definitely do not, and I've said this before, they don't try to push it at all, man. That's why they took a lot of these activities away, like shop class and all that type of stuff. It teaches you how to think outside that box. So when you have skills, right, you're never limited to just a job. You're always, have way more to offer. And our children aren't given this type of information. And even when you look at other cultures, like the doctor said, man, when you step out of your culture and you start to look at other cultures, you see that they involve their children at a very young age, especially the Spanish people, Greek people. You see all the other cultures, they get their kids in there, no matter if they have a dry cleaners. Like my grandfather had a dry cleaners. And my dad then worked in the dry cleaners when they were children. And when my uncle grew up, they started their own Robinson Brothers Roofing Company. And I saw that myself growing up. And I saw my grandfather's cleaners, and that in turn made me want to do more. So it's like our children, if they don't see this and you don't get them involved, you know what I'm saying? Like they're not going to want to do more. My daughter, she has her own business and she's only 18. And you start to see it more in our community, but it's not enough. You know what I mean? But people don't involve their children in it because they be like, well, my child isn't interested. It's not whether or not your child is interested or not. Sometimes you have to force them to do things because later on they'll come to the conclusion like, man, now I have this and I don't have to just rely on being a slave. In the school system, it only gives you the option of being a slave. You know what I mean? Everything is choice. Who are you going to work for? Pretty much.
That's by choice. I mean, Doc can tell you that all these things and choices that they're doing in these school districts is by design. Do not take it for granted. And you said something major right there. I can say in middle school, I wasn't excited about shop or anything like that. But when we got to high school, there were a lot of brothers that were interested in working with the hands, working on cars. You had Hecka, Deca, all this type stuff. They've removed all this stuff out of the school district. It's on purpose because they don't want us. I mean, we used to have a beauty school, I think, at Temple High in the back, where the girls, learn how to, be a beautician. That's a business.
Yeah.
I know a young lady here that got four or five shops, and she owns them all. And now that I know what I know, all those chairs, that's money that's coming into her shop. But again, that's by design to keep us down. They don't want us to learn what you just said, what the good doctor just said. And I know, like Jack has his own business. They don't want us to learn that.
No.
Here's the challenge. I'm sorry, I interrupted, brother. Here's a challenge. And I learned this at a younger age. There are two types of people in the world of business. And because you mentioned it when you said about the vocational classes being taken out of the school systems. There's those who understand the how and those who understand the why. Those who understand the how will always have a job. Those who understand the why will always be their boss. One of the most important things that you can learn is about business. If the vocational education is good, it teaches you how to work with the hands. It teaches you how to do. The problem is it doesn't teach you how to own. And that comes with understanding how other people and other cultures think. If you're not going to get it at home, you're not going to get it at school. It's there. The problem is knowledge and education is everywhere. It is seldom free. The question is, you mentioned the D9s working together and pulling together to make our entire community better. The problem is, it's possible to do that, which means you have to sacrifice something. And most of us culturally aren't willing to sacrifice what we have for the betterment of somebody else. And again, that's by cultural and systemic design, by other cultures who brought us here not out of our own free will. But nonetheless, we have the capability, especially with today's technology, to get the information if we want it. That's what I said before. With all the accumulated knowledge that I've gained over the years, and Paul and I talked about it, I can teach you, but I can't make you want to learn it.
Yeah.
For you brothers, I don't mean to cut y'all off. Do we have another country that we could go to that would embrace us like our country embrace all these other ethnicity groups that's coming into this country?
I might actually consider going overseas.
I'm gonna say,
across the world, just like, huh?
I don't know if
I said I actually consider going overseas.
Yeah.
Okay. My internet burp. I'm gonna say, I say Canada is a melting pot.
I don't like cold.
And I heard
I don't like cold.
Oh yeah, and then I heard the good doctor say something about overseas. I don't know which country, but yeah. Madam, I have a friend that's trying to divest his real estate over into Mexico. They've been looking for a place, and he just posted they found a spot. They're trying to do some stuff over there. Got a frat brother over in the DR. Went over there a few times, loved it, and he just started with a little, I don't know what they would call them. I would call them like a little cafe on the beach. Now it's like 3 times the size. He has 3 of them. He lives there full time.
So why I brought this up? Why I brought this question up is because I used to deal a lot with FBA even before COVID, and I used to do little seminars with them over in Fort Worth, here downtown Dallas at Central College, all that good old stuff. And the minority, what we got to understand is I do nothing minority, because minority is everybody other than white. So it's people out here doing great things with minority, but that's not inclusive of us. That's letting us come in the room, sit at that back seat where we talked about earlier, fellas, to sit in the back. But it's not saying it's for us, because they have a Hispanic thing, They had a Hispanic agenda. They got an Asian agenda. They got an agenda for everybody. So, like I read, it was funny because I knew I was coming on here, and something popped up on my feed about in another by 2053, you know, we're gonna work our way back into slavery because of ending habits. You know, goes back to what you guys saying, creating. You know, but I remember back in the day, what was that, Job Corps?
Yeah.
Think about the 1920s. Those people were able to. They were blacksmiths. The white people had to come to them to get the horseshoes for their horse.
Yeah.
That's why you look at the real cowboys. They don't look like them. They look like us. Alfonso Taylor, you know who he is. Okay, he the one taught me about what a real cowboy was. He was the only black I knew could go over here to the stockyard in Fort Worth and have a $35,000 horse and sell them. And these white people looking like, why this Negro pulling up here with this old $100 horse trailer and selling his horse for $35,000 and say he got one that 2 times that sitting down there in the field. So it's a lot, y'all. A lot of it is ours, but a lot is also the opportunity that these other ethnicity groups get. You know, they get the help. My cousin is married to a young man from another country, and me and him had a good talk. He's the first Nigerian I was able to sit down and have a conversation with, and he be brutally honest of what went on in the room. You know, came over here. This man say he came over here with no shoes on his feet.
Yeah. You know, just to touch base on 2 things, if I don't fucking forget. One, to go back to Josh, when he was talking about the school, the mechanic shops and blah, 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 and all that stuff like that. You know, now they're focused on that STAR test or whatever that damn test is now. They don't teach you any other things that we learned back then, the mechanic shop, the woodworking shop, and all that, far as I know. You know, now it's like they got to pass this test to get that going, you know, and why that is, I mean, even some of the kids now that come out, they don't even know how to sign their name. They don't know how to fill out a postage stamp. They don't know how to sew. They don't know how to do any of that stuff no more, the things that we're taught. So I guess back then, you know, I don't know, and I haven't done any research to find out when did all this testing come about for us that they teach now to get that funding. I don't know. And of course, I did have 2, but I forgot that other one. But let me read this comment that this guy posted. One of our viewers posted. He's been posting several, and I got to meet this guy because
I'm reading them now. I'm like,
okay, he's been posting several. He's saying if we could ever understand how commerce and money works, we would easily walk up out of this so-called struggle. That is one of the comments that one of the viewers posted right there. And doggone it, y'all, I had something else, but just to kind of touch on our topic again, ever wonder why black people don't support each other? We've covered a great deal of whys and wondering and asking ourselves, will we ever get there? You know, so I'm still saying just about no, but I think
Puff Daddy said it best. He said, more money, more problems. Money doesn't change you.
More money, more problem.
Right. Money doesn't change who you are. It only reveals who you already were. Money isn't real. Dollars will make you rich. Knowledge will make you wealthy. You can always be rich and lose it. Being rich is measured in money. Wealth is measured in time, and it's through generations. I told my kids, I said, scripture says, leave an inheritance for your children and your children's children. My sons asked me, said, Dad, are you going to leave me your business? Are you going to leave me your money? Are you going to leave me your cars? I told them no. The best thing I can leave you is my knowledge. Because if I leave you my knowledge, you can get it for yourself. If I give it to you, you won't appreciate it because you didn't earn it.
Don't sell it.
All right.
Exactly.
That's deep.
Now the challenge is, I say it again, I can teach you, but I can't make you learn.
Yeah.
True.
So get my knowledge now while you have me, because the day will come when you won't, and you wish you could.
That's our problem with a lot of the elders. We do not be trying to get their knowledge before they gone. And as soon as they gone, we done lost a whole library of information, man. Generations of mental wealth that we didn't never even opened up to read, bro.
Right. Yeah, and back then I can only just know because some of you guys know I interviewed my dad on my podcast, and he just loved talking, and he talked about history and talks about different things. But they supported one another a lot back then. Especially back when it's probably more white people eat chitlins now than black people, because he told us about how they used to throw that away, back then, and then the blacks made this out of it, they made that out of it, and coming up through the neighborhoods. But I'm just so big on support, and I just tell you how I can go into some black businesses and the customer service just freaking sucks. And then I go into some others, and man, they'll just treat you, with respect. I'll tell you, I was in one of the grocery stores, and there was a black cashier, and there was a white customer in front of me, and she just had a full conversation with that lady. As soon as I got up there, zip, nothing. Like I wasn't even standing there. I made her go and talk and start saying something to her anyway. But why? I just don't understand why I do not walk by. If I walk by any black person and we make eye contact, I'm going to acknowledge you with a head nod, a wink, a butt, or something. I'm going to acknowledge you. Josh, no, I met Josh in the hallway at work. Didn't know him from shit. And we start talking, and we've been chatting and popping up ever since. He said he had a business. I got his card, blah, blah, blah. Tell him, do your thing on here or whatever and stuff like that. Let him know how to follow you. We are not sticking together at all. You should never walk by another person of color, I would say, and not, if you meet eye contact, acknowledge them. And everyone that I acknowledge and speak like that, they always speak back. But sometimes I just have to initiate it or whatever. But it should be just mutual like that, But that's just my little 1 second, 2 second vent. Y'all go ahead on. Shit, it probably didn't mean too much, but that's just the way I feel at that moment about it. Because we want, ever wonder why black people don't support each other, and I don't know. Somebody else got something?
Hey, Wizzo, that's called colorism. Talking about that's colorism. We look at that. And then when the white people and they talk good to them, and then they turn around, they see you or me, and they ain't got nothing to say. That's colorism. Yeah, they see color, they see our dark skin, they cut off. Even black people.
Yeah,
that's
Yeah, the whoever this is that's in the chat, he just said the same. He made a comment about colorism. Then he also made the comment about how I just think if anybody knows anything about Tulsa, about Black Wall Street, man, that just hurts. Like, I don't know if they took our will, but back in the day, we owned a lot. I mean, we know that a lot of us know history. We had to, because that was the only way we had resources, because we couldn't deal because of Jim and Jane Crow. We had to have our own cleaners and stuff like that. I don't know, what happened, but I just think there has to be a different focus. And like Josh said, it's not going to happen in the school system. I just think, like in the 80s and 90s and 60s, it's going to take outside entities to ensure that these kids get refocused on ownership instead of loanership or employership.
All right, Doctor, what do you say, Doctor?
I want to make sure I articulate this correctly. The youth of this generation have a sense of entitlement mentality, whether it be because of technology or because of external influences. We, as the elder generation, have the responsibility to ensure that the mindset is changed, but we can't change them unless we first change. Many of us as men who are like us, who are business-minded, who are always trying to understand that there's another level to get to, have you noticed that you don't really surround yourself with us? Other cultures Other cultures are willing to pour into us before we are willing to pour into each other.
Mm.
Unfortunately, that is the plight that we're in right now. Until we reach a status of coming together, unifying, pulling our resources together, and lifting each other up, it's always going to be a mindset that I'm not going to take from me or sacrifice from my house to help you. Not understanding that at some point in the future, you may be able to help me. That's not how other cultures think. The first thing out of our mouth, culturally now, is, well, what can you do for me?
Mm.
Other cultures are this way. How can I help you? With the forethought, I know if I help you today, you could potentially be an ally and help me tomorrow. So much of
Right.
it is how we think. And until we understand that there are systems and powers in play, we have to decide at what direction we're going to move, because the mind's direction is more important than its progress. We'll eventually get there. The question is, how are we going to get there and who are we going to bring with us? Because not everybody wants to come.
That's true.
I use the analogy is that as Black men, when we're on the highway to success, everybody wants to get in and roll with you. But during the course of that ride, other people want to take over the steering wheel.
That's it.
Sometimes you got to take an exit and drop some people off. Why? Because not everybody's qualified to be in your car.
Mm.
And others aren't qualified to go to your destination. So drive your own.
Mm.
That's
Some
good.
of us are travel this path of success alone because not everybody wants to go with you in the context of they're willing to go as long as they have to put in the effort. And that's why I told my kids, I will leave you nothing but my knowledge. Because until you learn to do things on your own, you never appreciate what you have. That's why what you get from me now, you will earn. And until we teach our youth this, it's always going to be well, why can't you give me?
Yeah.
Why should I give you? You're my child. I do because I'm supposed to, not because I have to. You're my child. I want to teach you to prepare for this life that you're going to walk. Now, do you want to follow your own wisdom or listen to your parents' experience?
Mm-hmm.
I can show you the door, but you have to turn the knob. As that's why I said before, knowledge is everywhere. And until you will take that knowledge and open the door to walk through by yourself, understanding you may have to walk that path alone, but you only walk it for a while. Don't worry about trying to find people who think like you do. They'll find you.
All right. Yeah, that was pretty deep. Anybody come back on that there? What do you say, Big Jack?
I said, say, man, you couldn't put it
Yeah,
that second
that's good.
thought to articulate that. Say, if you had an hour, boy, you be a bad man.
Right.
That's right on the head there, man.
Hey guys, all right. We've been going. Usually, I like to run the podcast about an hour. Been going about like an hour and 12 minutes, which is good. It's a lot of good information. We still putting it on out, and we can continue to go. But what I like to do now, before to close out, is just go around and let everybody have some closing thoughts and leave us with something. And we'll probably come back one other day and do a part two. Mr. Palmer, that was supposed to be on this here, he was one of the ones that asked me to have this topic. So I always invite all my guests that if you come up with a topic or you like to be on the show, hit me up in the comments. If you have a hot topic you like to have discussed, hit me up. Big Jack, I believe you hit me up with something and we had you on. Josh is always is ready to come on, and I went to Dallas up that way and had Big Woo on, my cousin. I still gotta get the doctor on a 101. So, to any of my viewers out there that's listening, I'm going to upload this on Spotify. And you guys just hit me up if you want to be on the show. You have a hot topic you like to discuss. But now when I reach out to you about what you asked me to, don't disappear on me. So anyway, who'd like to go and start out with a little bit of closing remarks on here? Josh, what you got?
Everybody jump in the room.
I'm talking a lot. I didn't want anybody else to just become overwhelmed. As brothers, especially those who are business minded, who are also D9 and focused on the next generations, take in mind to consider not everybody wants to listen to what you have to say. So don't force it. They'll come when they're ready. But continue to be a beacon of light, a beacon of knowledge, and keep moving forward, because there are going to be people that you have who are in your space and in your place, but not necessarily going to your destination. Some people will try to hold you down. Some people are going to try to pull you back. Keep pushing forward. Take the time and use every obstacle that you have as an opportunity to learn, because the same people that are stepping under your feet are the ones that you're going to step on to push you forward.
Whoa. I ain't coming behind you. Who else got me something right there?
Man, I just want to say, man, it's been an honor to be on here with you gentlemen, and I love all your all's perspectives. It's definitely a great learning circle. And I also want to say that to the topic of this today, man, let us all be a solution to this problem. And let's all just, you know what I'm saying, keep an extended hand to each other and just see how we can help each other with our businesses. You know what I'm saying? I'm a graphic designer personally. So if any of you all need any help with any of that type of stuff, just let me know, man. You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, the solution starts here with us. You know what I'm saying? Like the doctor was saying, we need to surround ourselves with more people of our caliber. And I definitely think this is a perfect place to do that. And to the people that's out there, you know what I mean? If you all need any type of information, you know what I'm saying? You can just reach out to us, you know what I mean? And we, you know what I'm saying? Me personally, I love to share information and I like to help people go to where they're trying to get to, man. So if anybody want to reach me, you know what I'm saying? My email is afterrealtruth@gmail, all one word. Like I said before, you can Google After Real Truth, all one word, and find me. And just hit me up, man. I'm definitely out here willing to share the love and the knowledge, man.
All right.
I think I think as a closing remark, I like to say, if we're going to captivate the young folks, you know, what Doc said is very important. What Josh said is very, very important. But I think with the younger people, the first thing that came to my mind is, you know, I'd rather see a sermon than to hear one. So I think we have to show them, you know, with so I've heard 3 of these brothers on here that have their own businesses, and which is awesome. And so you know, we just got to show them the way to go. We can't give up on them, and we just got to keep pouring back into them. And I think the key is just I think we got to reach back, like Sankofa. There were some things that were done in the past, and they were good things, and they're not being done today. Like, you know, NAACP is still around. You know, some of these groups are still around, but we don't see the resources like they had before. You know, teaching kids, you know, about owning their own businesses, you know, and that type of mindset. You know, getting them to think about that type of mindset. Now it's all about sports, you know, rapping, all that type stuff. And still, even with that, they still don't understand there's dues to be paid. So these guys that are out there making it big, you know, they paid some dues before they were able to get there. Even in business, it's the same way. So
Gotcha.
that's my thing.
All right, Big Jack.
All right. So first of all, man, Paul, I appreciate you, man. You always got this heat for us. You got a great panel. The last one I was on, we had a great panel. Doc, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your knowledge. Seven, same as well. Big Woo, you know what time it is. We gotta catch up, baby. Gotta catch up with each other. And but now I honestly would like to see us meet again, maybe even in person if we can, you know. I don't know where everybody's from, where everybody's sitting, but I definitely would like to keep this pushing. You know, we got a lot of knowledge between 5 guys that, you know, needs to be out there, needs to be heard on a bigger stage, you know. And like you said, Doc, whether they take it or not, we're gonna put it out there and know that we did our part.
Right. That's what's up. But just to tell you, got you and Big Woo up that way, northbound in Dallas. Doctors in San Antonio area up that way, and Josh Big Seven is here in Simple Temple. So that's kind of where we all are located. But guys, I'm telling you, anytime you guys want to do or have a discussion or whatever, somebody hit me up. We'll get together. I'll assemble a bunch of people, and I can't thank you guys enough for saying yes to coming on to talk about ever wonder why Black people don't support each other. It's been a lot of knowledge put out there, and so I'm just thankful to have you guys to go and come on in and sit down and to see that we all look alike, and that just power to me, man. I just really appreciate that a whole lot, and just to talk, when I started my podcast, I just jumped out and started it and didn't know which direction I was going, but I knew that I didn't want to interview no politicians to come on here and talk about anything. I just wanted to interview and have guests for average, everyday people, and guys, that's what I've been reaching out to, and you guys came through. Just can't thank you enough for it. So I'm going to quit right there with that. And just, guys, I'll be uploading this on Spotify. Ask everyone out there is also free to like, share, and subscribe. If you subscribe, you hit that notification. And before you guys exit the room totally, I'm going to end the stream, but just give it a couple of minutes so it can kind of upload. I found that out after me and Josh the other day. You got to give it a couple of minutes before you just totally sign on out. But other than that, guys, I don't have a whole lot. I'm going to get with this guy here that's me and him been trying to make contact, that's been leaving the comments. He's followed the whole stream. He's right here in Temple, I do believe. Guys, once again, I thank you. I appreciate you. And we will talk again. Holla at you.
Peace.